Jonathan Greenard has been a spectator during training camp, and Vic Fangio said today that will continue for at least a couple more weeks. Greenard has been on the PUP list with a pec injury. The Eagles sent a pair of third-round picks to the Vikings this offseason to acquire Greenard. Then they signed him to a deal worth nearly $100 million. Welcome into an Eagle Eye Takeover edition of Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL, along with Rube and Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. Rube, is there a point here where you're going to start to get a little worried about Jonathan Greenard?
There is a point. I don't think we're quite there yet. It's been a couple weeks. This is a guy who's played a lot of football, made a Pro Bowl a couple years ago. He's a veteran guy, and it's also a position, edge rusher, where I think it's just like, Jonathan, go sack the quarterback. It's not like wide receiver, tight end, even O-line or quarterback or something, where a lot of it is just scheme-based, and he's got a lot of learning to do. I think he'll be okay. But if it's a week before opening day, then you start to worry, is this guy going to be 100% by the time the season opens on September 13th?
Yeah, the one thing I say you have to watch out for here is if he's going to be the top guy in this rotation, he misses all this time. Do they have to have him on some sort of a pitch count early in the season? Is Vic Fangio going to ramp up his workload as it goes? I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, and that's the way they like to do it. I mean, the Eagles are very conservative when it comes to bringing guys back from injuries, and they usually, wait an extra week once a guy's eligible or once a guy's healthy. So, we're getting to the point where we're about 5 weeks away from an opener, so he's got some leeway there. But in another couple of weeks, if he's still not out there, then you start to get concerned.
That brings us to our three-point stance presented by Toyota. Stance number one, the Eagles will have an elite edge rusher group. Once Greenard is healthy, he'll be paired with Jalix Hunt. They've got Nolan Smith, plus free agent acquisitions Arnold Ebiketie and A.J. Epinesa behind them. Hunt has turned heads all camp long and was asked today how much confidence has grown for him entering year 3.
Exponentially. That's been a word around the building, low-key. Exponentially, just constant growth, steady growth over time. And each day I'm stacking because I'm accomplishing goals. Each day I set a goal, what I want to look like today, what do I want to do today, how will I approach it, what will I do to approach it. And when I accomplish it, it stacks, it stacks, it stacks. So accomplishing those small things each and every day has been steadily building my confidence.
I like that, exponentially. Rube, as you look here at this list and you hear from Jalix Hunt, what are your expectations for this group?
Potentially elite, but there's some question marks. Nolan Smith's got to be the player he was in 2024, especially the second half of the regular season, plus the postseason. He was unstoppable during that 10-game stretch. He's got to be that guy. He's got to be a double-digit guy. And Jonathan Greenard's got to be healthy. I have ultimate confidence in Jalix Hunt. I think he's going to be a double-digit sack guy this year, 10 to 12 sacks, maybe more. He's that good. He looks great this summer. He's still kind of new at this, so I expect the growth to continue. I love hearing what he said. Really confident kid. To me, Nolan Smith is the big question mark because he had a down year last year. He had some injuries, but he can't be a 3-sack guy. He's got to be the player the Eagles expected when they took him in the first round a few years ago, and we just haven't seen that since 24.
He's a bit of a wild card because we know he's very talented. The nice thing about Nolan Smith is even if he's not sacking the quarterback, if he's healthy, he's going to be good setting the edge. I think he's going to do all the dirty work that you need him to do. And if you have Jonathan Greenard and Jalix Hunt at the top of that rotation, then maybe it doesn't matter that he's not sacking the quarterback as much. But even those depth guys, I think Ebiketie has a chance to be okay. Epinesa could give you something. But Jalix Hunt and Jonathan Greenard are going to need to lead the way.
They're the key to the whole group. And Nolan Smith, like you said, is the wild card. Potentially a really unstoppable group. And then we haven't even talked about the pressure they're going to get from the inside, which is going to certainly help everybody.
Yeah, we're talking about the edge rusher group separate, but they all work together, and that interior group is excellent, as we know. Stance number 2, Quinyon Mitchell is going to be a superstar. We should note he did suffer an injury at today's practice, but he remained on the sideline as a spectator. He looked okay. Mitchell picked off a handful of passes during training camp already. It's something he's yet to do in the regular season. Vic Fangio was asked about his all-pro corner today. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, he just keeps improving. He's like we said, just a really good dude as a football player and not as a guy, and he works hard. not resting on any of the laurels that he's gotten in his first 2 years. He still needs his first interception, of his career.
I know.
He'll quickly remind you he's got 4 in the playoffs, but he's still a virgin in the regular season.
I love Vic Fangio. Rube, you see that Mitchell has 0 picks in 32 regular season games, but he does have 4 in 5 playoff games. Can he make a push this season to be considered the best corner, period, in the NFL?
I think he's very close right now. I think he's a top 3 cornerback, and I would say he's already a superstar, and made first team All-Pro without any interceptions, and the voting is before the postseason. First cornerback to do that since Nnamdi with the Raiders, actually the year before he got here. He is a superstar. I mean, the way he's able to lock down even the best receivers. He's a physical guy. He's smart. He's instinctive. Look, this team's had some great cornerbacks over the years, from Asante and Eric Allen and Troy Vincent. He's right up there with that group. And by the time all is said and done, he could be the best.
Yeah, I'll forgive you for bringing up the name Nnamdi on this show.
He used to be good.
He used to be good. I want to bring up one rep from Quinyon Mitchell today. It was a one-on-one against Hollywood Brown, actually before he got hurt in another one-on-one. But there was a double move from Hollywood Brown, and he just read it the whole way. He ended up running the route for him, picks off the pass. It's just like next-level stuff from Quinyon Mitchell. You're right, like he's already such a great corner, but I think there's still some room for growth. Right now, you'd probably say Pat Surtain, Derek Stingley are the 2 best corners in the NFL. Quinyon is in that class, and there's a chance he could be ahead of anyone by the end of the season.
Yeah, and the next step for him is getting those takeaways, getting those interceptions. I think his rookie year, he dropped a bunch. Last year, he didn't really have the opportunities, but they're going to come. And the good thing is you have a pretty good corner on the other side, so they're going to have to throw to Q at some point. And I would be surprised if he doesn't have at least 3, 4, 5 this year.
Stance number 3, Jalen Hurts hasn't had much time with his top targets during camp. Devontae Smith and Mekhi Lemon remain sidelined today. So, Rube, any level of concern for you about the quarterback not getting a chance to work with his top receivers?
Not really. I'm concerned about Mekhi because he's missing so much time, but we've seen Jalen really develop a great chemistry with Dontavian Wicks, with Darius Cooper. They're both having very good camps. Lately, Elijah Moore's really kind of come on. So you see Jalen kind of developing that rapport with these guys. I don't worry about Jalen and Devontae. They've known each other, I think, since middle school. So I don't worry about that. You worry about Mekhi Lemon because he's a young guy in a new system, or in his first system, and he's missing some important time. But I think Jalen has developed some really good chemistry with these other wide receivers so far.
Yeah, that's the flip side of the concern about him missing time with those other 2, Devontae and Mekhi Lemon, is that he gets all those extra reps with Dontavian Wicks, with Darius Cooper, with Elijah Moore, with Hollywood Brown. Some of those guys are going to need to play this year, so getting time on the field with them matters too. And
we should say we did see Devontae working out before practice today, doing some sprints, some agility drills. I thought he looked really good, really encouraged. He looks like he could probably practice now, but again, they're going to be very conservative with him.
No need to rush him back. We know what he can do.
Man, looking like, this is probably potentially going to be probably my last year, just because I am getting to that point of those priorities, away from football are starting to merge. Not that I don't enjoy. I love everything about this game and preparing for it, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Time for the Birds Lounge, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. That was Lane Johnson on Saturday, declaring this will probably be his final NFL season. Rube, what did you make of Lane's announcement?
Yeah, it was kind of took us all by surprise when he sat up there and said that. But I give him credit for being able to find the right balance between his parents are older and his mom's been sick. He's got his oldest turns 13, I think, in the next couple of weeks. He wants family time, and I get that. And his family's far away in Oklahoma, and he's had a great career. I give him credit for making the right call for him. And he could stick around and probably play 3 more years, make a couple Pro Bowls, maybe another All-Pro, and kind of build more of a Hall of Fame case. But I give him credit for making the right decision for him.
Yeah, we're going to get the Hall of Fame case in just a moment. But today, Jalen Hurts was asked about Lane's declaration and what the right tackle has meant to him.
Lane's a special player. He's had a very special career, and to get to know him and to, for him to immerse himself into, my career and me developing ever since I walked into Philly, working out together, the times we spent together. I take pride in those things. And so, I want to make sure it's a special year for him. I know it takes great courage to say this is the last dance going into it. And so, I hope he gets everything that he desires out of this year.
Rubio laid out the case in an article this week for Lane Johnson to make the Hall of Fame. Ultimately, do you think he gets in?
I think he's got a chance. I would certainly vote for him if I was a voter. I should be a voter. I think the two suspensions early in his career, 2014 and 2016, aren't going to help him when you look at who the voters are. But, his career speaks for itself. In the last 25 years, he's the only offensive tackle to make All-Pro first team twice, to win 2 Super Bowls. So he's got the team accolades and he's got the individual accolades. He's been a great player for a long time. All his Pro Bowls, all his All-Pros, all his Super Bowls came after the second suspension. So he's had an incredible career. I would certainly vote for him. I'm not sure if he's going to get in. He should.
You know what's funny? I've been thinking about this. The last few years, we've just been talking about Lane Johnson as a Hall of Famer. And I know it sounds silly, but I think that helps. I think because people have talked about him now this way for the last 5 or 6 years. And I think that just you hear Lane Johnson and you think, oh, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I think that starts to get into the subconscious of voters a little bit, especially at a position like offensive line where there just aren't that many stats to go by. There's the next level and all the analytics that tell you he's excellent and he's been great for a long time. But you also hear just what players around the league say about Lane. He's your favorite tackle's favorite tackle.
Yeah. Since he gave up 11 sacks as a rookie, since then, since 2014, he's allowed 22 sacks. It's unbelievable how consistently he's been just a great player. And a lot of that's coming without any inside help, almost all of it for most of his career. So for me, he's deserving. I look at him as a Hall of Fame player. I hope that's enough.
Yeah, and that's a big part of this is the tackles are asked to do different things. Lane has lived on an island for most of his career, just facing some of the best pass rushers the NFL's ever seen, and he's handled them all. So, it's kind of like he said about the accolades, maybe not always going his way. There's tape too. I kind of feel that way when it comes to his Hall of Fame candidacy. Turn on the tape. This guy has been unbelievable for over a decade. To me, he's a Hall of Famer.
22 sacks in the last 12 years. That's under 2 sacks a year, if my math is correct.
It might be. It might not be. That's okay. If Lane Johnson does decide to step aside after this year, the Eagles will need to fill those massive shoes. Markel Bell filled in at right tackle during Johnson's absence throughout training camp. Here's what the future Hall of Famer had to say about the rookie.
He's one of the best rookies I've been around, just far as being in the playbook. No complaining. Haven't heard him complain one time. And just he's always asking questions. So just a really mature young man. Handles stuff off the field well. He's just always asking questions. And you can tell he was coached up well at Miami. And yeah, man, I see a guy with that size and that ability and that wingspan and movement. He can have a lot of success in this business.
You hear from Lane there. Rube, are you confident that Markel Bell is the guy to eventually take over?
After listening to what Lane said about him, how can you now? Who would know better? I think he's got a chance to be the heir apparent, and I think this is going to be a really pivotal year for Markel to have this year with Lane, to learn from him, to be a sponge and soak up knowledge from a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's been nice. I've gotten a chance to know Markel Bell a little bit for my Surviving Camp series, and he's just so confident in his ability. This has not been overwhelming for him, and it would be really nice for the team to have a succession plan going in to next year if Lane Johnson does decide to retire. We thought maybe they'd have to draft a tackle down the line. They might have already gotten them.
Yeah, he's an impressive kid. If he plays his first snap, he'll become the tallest Eagle in history at 6'9".
6'9". Yeah, he is a big guy. We know that for sure.